Good morning.
Good morning.
Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Paramparam. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we will continue where we left off, and now we are looking at the 26th verse of the 4th chapter. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan
Shotradrinindriyanyanye
Shotradrinindriyanye
Sanyamagnishu Juhvati Shabdadin Vishayananya Indriyagnishu Juhvati. Okay. So look at the sentence. Anyehe Juhvati. So you have to separate carefully. Sotradin Indriyani Anye. Anyehe Juhvati. Anye means others. Juhati, offer. Juhati is the offering. Anye Juhati. What do they offer? Shotradini. They offer their organs of hearing. Okay. And Indriyani. Shotradini Indriyani. So Shotra Adi Indriyani. So Shotra Adi means Indriyani is sense organs like Shrotram Adi, like the organ of hearing and others. So essentially, Anye Juhati, other people, they offer all their 5 sense organs where Sanyam Agnishu. So Sanyam Agni. Sanyam means mastery, self-mastery. Agni is the fire. So some people offer their sense organs as an offering into the fire of self-mastery. Sanyam Agnishu. And then Anye. While others, still others, Shabdadin Vishayan. Shabdadin Vishayan means sense objects. Shabda Adi Vishayan. Sense objects like words, etc. Okay, sound, etc. So again, all the 5 sense objects. So the first portion was about the 5 sense organs. Now it is the sense objects of the sense organs. So Anye Shabdadin Vishayan Indriyagnishu Juhati. Where do they offer it? Into the fire of the sense organs. Okay, so that 2 meanings. Here, what is being said? Krishna is talking about the yajnas, about the offerings, and 2 more yajnas are being described here. So, Shotra Adi Indriyani Sanyam Agnishu Juhati. They are offering sensory organs into the fire of self-discipline, sensory discipline. So, sensory discipline we saw earlier was called Indriya Samyahamyaha. What is it called in Tattva-bodha? Dama. So, this first line and all these wonderful words, Shotradi Indriyani Anye Sanyam Agnishu Juhati, simply means some people have Damaha. Sensory discipline called Indriya Samaha. Here there is no physical fire, there is no physical oblation, no physical offering. What is being said is there is sense control. The mastery over the Indriyas because of Vivekaha, because of discrimination. And remember that if force is used to suppress, then it is torture. Whereas in Indriya Nigraha, nobody forces me, but I myself decide that this Indriya Nigraha, sensory discipline, is good for me. Right? Like you choose every week to come and sit in class for 60 minutes. This is not confinement. Nobody is forcing you to sit. You have chosen to sit. And during those 60 minutes, your attention is focused on the class, which means you have withdrawn the sense organs from the world, otherwise from the world, right? Therefore, Indriya Nigraha. So discrimination is based on, this whole discipline, Damaha, is based on discrimination. It is not enforced discipline. And therefore he calls such a yajna as Dama Yajnaha. This is Dama Yajnaha. What is offered? You have to carefully think. When a person practices self-control, what is being offered? What is being consumed is the question. So you can think of the example of a normal havan. When you offer ghee, the clarified butter, into the sacrificial fire, the ghee is consumed, it vanishes, right? Now, when you are offering sense organs into the fire of Atma Sanyam, self-discipline, what is vanishing?
Desires.
You are talking about sense organs. Let's stick to sense organs. So what is vanishing?
Ego.
No. So you have your sense organs can be disciplined. They can be indisciplined also. So you are offering the indisciplined sense organs into the fire of self-mastery. What you are saying is that the indiscipline in my sense organs, those indisciplined sense organs are being consumed by the fire of self-mastery. It's very poetic. What something is being consumed, right? What is consumed? That part of your sense organs which are indisciplined, that is being consumed. So that is oblation. It disappears. Now he comes to the fourth yajna, Shabdadin Vishaya Indriya Agnishu Yukhati. So this is Vishaya Bhoga Yajna. This is the yajna. Please keep your mics off. In the previous yajna, what happens? I have disciplined the sense organs. I say no to sensory weaknesses. So it doesn't mean that you should never enjoy a strawberry ice cream, okay? But enjoy the strawberry ice cream as a master. Don't be driven by the compulsion of your tongue. This is what is being said. If you are eating your sweet dish, is because you are a slave of your tongue, then it is not discipline. You should say no. If I can enjoy them as a master, then only it's a yajna. So when you are saying that you are offering the sensory, the sense organs, the objects of the sense organs, Shabdadin Vishayananya, the Shabda Adi, which are the objects of the sense organs, they are being offered into the fire of the sense organs. What you are saying is that I am master of my sense organs. And when I have an ice cream, I have it as a master because it is convenient to me, because there's nothing else happening at that point of time. And if I have the freedom to say no whenever I want. This attitude is the yajna. And this line is referring to that. And in this kind of a ritual, in this kind of a yajna, what is the oblation, what is the offering, and what is the homa kundaha, what is the fire? All the sense organs are the fire. Because whatever something is being offered, that is the fire. The ghee is offered into the fire, right? That is, fire is the homa kunda. And therefore, the sense organs are the fire. And into those sense organs, I am offering the sense objects, signifying that I am master of the sense objects. In fact, when you do the Mundaka Upanishad, you will come across a particular mantra, Sapta Pranaha Prabhavanti Tasmat Saptarchishi Samidaha Sapta Homaha Sapta ime loka yeshu chatanti pranaha guhyashaya nihita sapta sapta. He says that, the Upanishad says that there are 7 fires, 7 homakundas. What are they? 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 6 plus 1 mouth. And therefore, your whole life is a continuous yajna, because to each of these fires, are you not offering something all the time? To the eyes, you offer form and color. To the ear, you offer sound. To the nose, you offer smell. To the tongue, you offer taste. To the skin, you offer touch. And your whole life is a yajna. Therefore, even eating is included in this yajna, because I am offering various tastes to the tongue. The only thing is that you should ensure that you offer it as a master and not driven as a slave. And therefore Krishna says, Anyehe, some other yogis, Shabda Adi Vishayan Juhati. They offer varieties of sensory stimuli. Shabdaha, Sparshaha, Rupaha, Rasaha, Gandha, all the objects. They offer it in the form of an offering. This is a yajna for them. And this whole attitude which Krishna is talking about, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Shiva Manasa Puja, right? I have often quoted one line from there. Yad yad karma karomi tat tat akhilam shambho tavaradhanam. So here it's a line from the Shiva Manasa Puja. What's the Manasa Puja?
Mental mind puja.
Which means what?
You're doing puja inside your mind.
It's a mental activity like Manasika Karma. Okay, and it's because it involves Ishvara, it's called a puja. So I'll quote to you the entire particular verse. It's a very beautiful verse. So I thought I would, since very often we quote this, at least I quote this, Yad yat karma karomi, taddad akhilam shambho tavaradhanam. I thought I would quote the whole verse to you for those who are interested and explain also. So it's the 4th verse of the Manasa Puja. It says, Atma tvam girija matihi sahacharah pranaha shariram graham pujate vishaya upabhoga rachana nidra samadhi sthitihi sanchara padayoho pradakshana vidihi stotrani sarvagiro yadyat karma karomi tattat akhilam shambho tava aradhanam. What does it mean? Atma tvam girija matihi. O Lord, you are my soul. Atma. O Lord, you are my Atma. Girija. The Devi Girija is Parvati, the Divine Mother. What is that Devi Girija? Girija Matihi. So the words are Atma Tvam. You are my Atma. Or basically I am you. You are my Atma. Girija Matihi. Parvati Devi is my Buddhi, intellect. Then Sahachara Pranaha Shariram Graham. Sahachara, the companions, are the Pranaha. Shariram Graham. The body, my body, Graham is your house. So that is the first thing you are saying. Oh Lord, you are my soul. And it is, remember, is addressed to which Lord?
Shiva.
Obviously, right? Because it is Shiva Manasa Puja.
Parvati.
So therefore, Girija is coming in. Girija basically means, what does Girija mean?
Mountain. Daughter of mountain.
Giri means mountain.
Daughter of Giri.
You have to, by now you should know the words. Aja. Ja means born out of. Girija, mountain, born out of the mountain. Mountain is the father of, so daughter of, right? Because it is feminine. Therefore, Atma Tvam, you are my soul or you are my Atma. Girija Matihi, Matihi is the Buddhi. Parvati Devi is my intellect. Pranaha Sahacharaha, The companions are pranaha. Who are the companions of Lord Shiva? What are they called?
Who
Ganas, Shivaganas. Okay, so the companions Shivaganas are my prana, and Shariram Graham, my body is your temple or your house. So that is the first line. Then Pujate Vishaya Upabhoga Rachana, my interactions with the world, Vishaya Upabhoga Rachana, my interactions with the objects of the world, Te Pujaha, are a worship to you, and Nidraha, my sleep, Samadhi Sthitihi, is a state of Samadhi where I have been completely focused or absorbed in you. Second line. The third line is Padayoho Sancharaha. My feet walking around, Pradakshina Vidihi is the Pradakshina. Pradakshina is what? Going around the deity in the temple. So circumambulation, as I call it. Going around the deity. It's a part of the worship in Indian temples. So Padayoho Sanchara Pradakshina Vidihi. Whenever I am walking, I am going around you only because you are there everywhere. And Stotrani Sarva Giro. All my words, stotra, are all the Giro. Giro means words. All my words, Sarva Giraha, are Stotram. Stotram is what? Work in a poem in the praise of the Lord. And therefore, Sarva Giraha Stotrani, whenever I talk, it is only to praise you. Remember, these are the things which I said. Now he's summing it up in one line. Yat yat karma karomi tat tat akhilam shambho tava aradhanam. Yat yat karma karomi, whatever karma I do, tat tat akhilam, all that in its entirety, tava aradhanam, is a worship to you, O Shambhu, O Lord. It's a very beautiful prayer, okay? Very well worth memorizing, and you can use it as morning prayer, evening prayer, whenever. So what is being said is that purely by changing my outlook, Lord is inside me. The Lord is consciousness. That consciousness is in me. Whatever I'm offering you, whatever oblations I am doing, it is received by that consciousness principle alone. When words are offered into consciousness, it becomes knowledge. Shabda Jnanam. When touch is offered into consciousness, it becomes Sparsha Jnanam. So, there is no problem about feeding the sense organs, as long as Dharma Aviruddha, unopposed to your spiritual welfare, it should be. So, the essence of these verses is what? Is that all sadhakas practice sensory control, Dhamma, right? And note that there should be 5 practices. One for Shabda, one for Sparsha, one for Rupa, one for Gandha, and one for Rasa. Now, since we are doing it in detail, if you look at the 2 lines, you will find that there is a very subtle difference. Shabdadin Indriyan Anye Sanyam Agnusha Juhati. Anyehe Shotra Indriyani Sanyam Agnusha Juhati. Some people, they offer the sense organs to the fire of self-mastery. And some people, Anyehe Shabdadi Vishaya Indriya Agnusha Juhati. And some people offer the sense objects to the sense organs. There is a very subtle difference. Can you make out? Both are Dhamma. But what is the difference? Both lines refer to Dhamma only. It's a very, very subtle difference.
Acharya ji, can I try?
Please go ahead.
So, what they're trying to say, the one type of people, they offer their entire sense organs to self-control. Okay, that means senses itself. And the other people, they're offering the vishayas. That means what these sense organs are consuming, that is being offered. So, so second type of people, there's no end to it, because senses can offer various things. So you keep on offering, but it will not end it from the root. So what I feel, the first type of people who are offering the senses itself, that is more, that should be more preferred.
You have analyzed correctly, but you have not arrived at the correct conclusion. What is the conclusion from these two?
That you are offering sense organs as well as the sense objects.
That is fine, but what is the conclusion?
Can I try?
Swati, please go ahead.
Sir, in this case, like sense organs, when we are sacrificing sense organs, we are giving up everything, like even including objects, because we are not associated with them. But when we are sacrificing only sense objects, then
Okay,
it's
let me give you a hint. Okay, in the first case, the person to whom the first line is being addressed cannot watch TV, but the second person can watch TV. It's a hint. What does it mean?
Acharya,
Yes.
it seems to be saying that in the first line that I'm completely absorbed in the Lord. So my sense organs are not taking in anything else. And in the second, it's saying that everything I see, I'm seeing the Lord. So it's being given as an offering back to you.
Okay, so let me give you the answer. The first line is addressed to a sannyasi. It refers to a sannyasi because indriyani, the sense organs itself, are being given up. And therefore, the sannyasi, remember, is not allowed to participate in any sensory pleasure. Therefore, the first line is yajna, where you completely renounce the sensory pleasures itself, which means it's a sannyasi, because sannyasi cannot take part in sensory pleasures. The second part is what? Sense objects are entering into you. You are partaking in sensory pleasures, but you are offering them to the Lord. Therefore, second part is addressed to Grihastha. Very, very subtle difference. Okay. I would not have known it. No, none of us can know it excepting for Shankara's commentary. And Shankara adds here saying that even in the second case, we have to remember that the sense pleasures should be dharma aviruddha, which are not opposed to dharma. And therefore, that's why I said the first person cannot watch TV, second person can. But even while watching TV, that sensory pleasure he is offering to the Lord. He is thinking of watching TV also as a homa. Does it make sense? Very, very subtle difference, and nobody will ever be able to think about it excepting Shankara. So that's why I said, since they're basing it very largely on Shankara, that is why, we are going into this kind of detail. All right. Now 27th verse, which we will chant. Sarvani indriya karmani.
Sarvani indriya karmani.
Prana karmani chapare.
कर्माणि चापरे
Atma Sanyam Yogagnau. Juhvati Jnana Deepite. Okay. So let us look at it. We'll break up the words. Chapare, that is the last line. Cha apare. Sarvani from the first line. So apare sarvani indriya karmani prana karmani cha, and then you go to the second line, Jnana Deepite Atma Sanyam Yoga Agnau Juhati. That is the Anvaya. And if you look at it, Apare Juhati Sarvani. Some people, Apare Juhati. Some other people, what do? Juhati. They offer. What do they offer? Sarvani Indriya Karmani. All the karmas of the Indriyanis. So some people offer all the karmas, all the activities of the sense organs, and prana karmani. Now, Indriya karmani is referring to Jnanendriyani. Therefore, he says prana karmani. What is the function of prana? To cause something to take place. Prana is the reason why which indriyas function. All the indriyas, of course, need karma, but here prana karmani refers to karma indriyas. Therefore, apare johati, some other people, they offer sarvani indriya karmani, all these activities of the jnanendriyas, cha prana karmani, all the activities of the karma indriyas also. Where do they offer? Atma sanyam yogagnau, into the fire of Atma, Agni, Atma Sanyam Agni, Yoga Agni, into the fire of self-mastery. And how has that fire been lighted? Jnana Deepite. That fire has been lighted by the light of knowledge, by the matchstick of knowledge. Okay. Now, if you look at all the verses we have already completed regarding the yajnas only, what did we complete? We completed Brahma Jnana Yajna, Nididhyasana Yajna we completed, Daiva Yajna we completed. From the last verse, Indriya Sanyamya Yajna for the sannyasi, first line of last verse, and Vishaya Nigraha Yajna, last line for the Grihastha. So Indriya Sanyamya Yajna is control of the sense organs. Vishaya Nigraha Yajna is control over what sense objects are being partaken of. Second line for the Grihastha, first line for the sannyasi. So 4 yajnas have been talked about: Brahma Jnanam, Daiva Yajna, Indriya Sanyama Yajna, and Vishaya Nigraha Yajna. Okay. Now with this verse, a new yajna is being introduced: Atma Sanyama Yajna. Okay. What does it mean? Unfortunately, Shankara thinks that we all know, Shankara says these people are all great because they have reached the 4th chapter, so I won't define. Shankara doesn't define that term. And so we have to look at other commentators. You will find that many commentators have defined that term. This Atma Sanyam basically means what? Self-mastery. Okay. Now, if you take the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali describes it as Nirvikalpa Samadhi Abhyasa. What is Nirvikalpa Samadhi Abhyasa? What does Nirvikalpa mean?
No alternative.
When
Only
you
one.
don't need an alambana.
No other option.
No. I see, whenever you analyze a word, you have to break it up. What is the breakup of Nirvikalpam?
Without option.
No,
Nirvikalp.
don't use English.
बिना और किसी
So Vikalpa,
विकल्प और कोई
one meaning is option. That is in Hindi. But Vikalpa meaning in Sanskrit is difference. Differentiation. So Nirvikalpa means without differentiation. When you say Savikalpa, it means with a differentiation. And Savikalpa Samadhi means Samadhi with differentiation. Samadhi means absorption. Absorption, but with differentiation. What is the differentiation? When you say differences, what do they mean?
I am the Ishvara. In this case.
No. Whenever you talk about samadhi, nirvikalpa and savikalpa, remember there are three things. When you are doing meditation, there are three things always present. What are they?
You, the object of meditation,
Yes,
and the act of meditation.
correct. You, the meditator, the process of meditation, and the object of meditation. Okay. So you is the meditator. What are you doing? Meditating. That is second. First is you. Second is process of meditation. Third is Ishvara, the object of meditation. There are always three. And as long as you are aware that I am meditating, you are in Savikalpa Samadhi. Because you are aware of the differences. Right? It's easier if you look at the dream state. In Swapna Avastha, in the state of dreaming, how many things are there? Use the same logic. There is a dreamer,
I think 3 only, you know.
process of dreaming, and what is being dreamt about. Right? In Jagrut Avastha, how many things are there? You, the waker, the process of experiencing the world, and whatever is being experienced. So these three things, there's a technical name in Shastra. Anybody knows?
Triputi.
Triputi. Right? It's called Triputi. Triputi means triad, a group of three. Now, in Savikalpa Samadhi, the triad is always present. As a meditator, you are aware that you are meditating. And you are aware that your object of meditation is Ishvara. When you go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the awareness disappears. What is the closest example? Sushupti Avastha. In Sushupti, you do not know that you are sleeping. There is no knowledge at all. Okay. We have discussed this in some detail in Vedanta Sara. So I will ask you to pull out from there. There are, of course, some things. Some knowledge is there. But anyway, we will not get into all that. But basically, that is what is meant. So, Yoga Sutras take this Atma Sanyam as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But if you take that meaning, there is an implicit duality in the Yoga Sutras. Isn't there? What does it mean? What is the implicit duality of the Yoga Sutras? Yoga Sutra is Advaitik or Dvaitik?
Dvaita.
Dvaita.
Dvaita. Why is it Dvaita? Why do you say Yoga Sutra is Dvaita?
Because Purusha and Prakriti are real.
Purusha, Prakriti are both real. And therefore there is Dvaitam always. And therefore if you take that meaning of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, it can make it confusing. Right? So we take the meaning from Tattvabodha. What is the Tattvabodha meaning? Shamaha is Mana Nigraha. And therefore Atma Samyamya means control of the mind, which is a tougher yajna. So here remember, when Krishna says Atma Samyamya, Atma is not Satchidananda Atma. Atma is Manas, the mind. And Atma Samyam means discipline of the mind. And therefore, through this mental discipline, what do such yogis accomplish? They accomplish the restraint of the 10 sense organs, Dasa Indriyani, which are all in their natural state, they are unrefined, uncultured. In Kathopanishad, they are called Dushta Ashva. What is Dushta Ashva?
The wild horses.
Uncontrollable horse.
Uncontrollable horses. wild, uncontrollable horses. Dushta Ashva. So, Kathopanishad refers to Dashendriyani as wild horses. How can you discipline them? How do you discipline the horses? What do you need to discipline the horses? You need, you need a charioteer, right? The mind is behind all the sense organs, and therefore there is only one way of disciplining the sense organs. That is to discipline the mind. There is no way of disciplining the sense organs without disciplining the mind. And therefore Krishna is saying Atma Sanyam. By disciplining the Atma, which is the mind, all sense organs will be ultimately disciplined. And that is what is meant by offering the indisciplined sense organs into the mental discipline of the mind. What does he say? The last verse. Shotra Indriyani Anye Sanyam Agnisha Johati. The unruly sense organs are being offered into the discipline of the mind. In effect, the unruliness, the indiscipline of the sense organs is being eliminated, and the indisciplined sense organs are being transformed into disciplined sense organs. That's hence Sarva Indriya Karmani means Jnanendriya Karmani. They are being converted to disciplined warriors. And of course, he says Prana Karmani also. So Prana Karmani means Karmendriya Karmani. Hence the functions of all the Karmendriyas also. And therefore when you take them both together, the functions of all the 10 sense organs, Atma, Sanyama, Yoga, Agnav. They are offered to into the fire of the mastery of the mind, the mental discipline which is called the mastery of the mind. That is the Homakundam, that is the fire into which all the karmas of the Jnanendriyas and the Karmendriyas are being offered to. When you offer an offering into the fire consumes and destroys the offering. Therefore, all the indiscipline is consumed and destroyed in the fire of mental discipline. Why is this being pointed out? Remember that every karma, whether it be done by your hands or your legs or your tongue, where is the origin of the karma? Where does the
Mind.
karma originates as thoughts, in the mind only. And therefore understand the offering of the karma as destruction, or at least more practical terms, as reduction in these activities. And that is why mind discipline becomes extremely important. Without disciplining the mind, you can have sensory discipline. You can have sensory discipline without disciplining the mind. You can choose not to smoke. If you're a regular smoker, one day you can say, I won't smoke. But that is going to be temporary, because in your mind, if that cigarette is going on, then your discipline will work, but only temporarily. It will not work permanently. Therefore, any suppression without understanding. So that's the difference I'm using, suppression versus control. Control is with understanding. Suppression is purely physical, without the analysis that goes into why that discipline is good. So any suppression is going to ultimately lead to some sort of depression. Therefore, the mind has to evolve. Once the mind evolves, once it gets refined, then I have a confidence that wherever the mind goes, it doesn't matter. Whether it goes into the Pizza Hut or it goes into the temple, it doesn't matter, because the mind is disciplined. It will not go astray. And this knowledge, because of which the mind is disciplined, has come how? Jnana has been lit from the knowledge, from the lamp of Shastram only. Jnanam is Shastram. This fire has been lit with the lamp of knowledge. Okay, so Shama, here we are talking about. Dhamma we talked about. We are talking about Shama. Why? Because Atma Sanyam. Clear? When should you start the practice of Shama? That is something which is very often asked. So I will quote, very strangely enough, this is a quote from a book called the Panchatantra, which you may all be familiar with. Okay. So it is Purve Vayasi Yaha Shantaha Sashantaha iti me matihi Dhatu Shiyamaneshu Shamaha Kasya na jayate. Can you understand? Purve Vaisi Yaha Shantaha, whatever Damaha, so the word Shantaha in this particular verse refers to Shamaha. Purve Vaisi Yaha Shantaha, whatever sense control is practiced when I am young. Saha Shantaha iti me matihi. That is the real Shamaha, in my opinion. Dhatu Shiyamaneshu Shamaha. Here Dhatu refers to there is the thing from which your body is made. Okay, all the various flesh and bones and all those from which the body is made. The roots, Dhatu is a root. The root substance from which the body is made. So Dhatushu Shiyamaneshu Shamaha. That sense organ, that Shamaha, that Shantaha, that Shamaha, which is practiced when Dhatushu Shiyamaneshu, when the sense organs have decayed, when the body has decayed, Kasya na jayate, what is the use of that kind of self-control? Very, very beautiful verse. Essentially, it means practice self-control as soon as you can. Don't wait till you're 95 years old. And of course, we have seen this in a very beautiful little verse. Angam galitam palitam mundam dashana vihinam jatam tundam vriddho yati grahitva dandam tadapina munchati asha pindam. Do you remember?
Bhajagovinda.
I hope you remember all this because I am not explaining.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? I will wait. Sometimes questions themselves take time to emerge. So,
So the last part you mentioned about the quote from Panchatantra,
yeah.
something came to my mind I'd like to share. This is why we say that a little bit of saying no while parenting is important, because that cultivates a little discipline and a certain
Of
ability.
course. Of course. You're teaching the child that he will never get everything that he wants in this world. A child who grows up getting everything grows up with a sense of entitlement, and that's a big problem in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely, sir.
Okay. Now we have some time, so we'll look at the 28th verse. We will chant.
Om Raviji.
Om.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So usually our mind is so engrossed with a lot of other things. Even if we want to go ahead and focus on something, our mind keeps wandering. Even when we have to do a homa, for that matter, put the ghee in the fire and things like that. Though we understand that this is actually to, go ahead and discipline the mind and actually, remove all those bad thoughts that you have. But still, mind keeps wandering. So it's more about that conscious effort. So it's like a forced discipline that we bring in.
Well, there are some senior students over here. I would like them to answer the question because they would have actually gone through all this. Anybody wants to answer? Sundar, Medha. Anybody wants to have a shot at that? No? Come on, guys.
Sir, can we have the question again? I'm sorry, I didn't get the gist of exactly what she meant.
Yeah, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was talking about, more in terms of a forced discipline that we have to bring in. Though when we are doing even a puja or a homa or anything of that sort, our mind keeps wandering with other thoughts. Though we want to focus, it will still wander. Uh, is it a forced discipline, or we have to just wait till it just happens?
Okay, the question is that this focus of the mind which we are talking about, which here we are talking about as shama, is it something which can be achieved? Or is it like my white hair? I have to just wait till it comes.
But can I
Sir, it's
mention
regular
my case?
practice.
I think Meda wants to say something. Meda, go ahead.
Sir, yes.
Om Raviji, I would like to compare this with asana practice. And it's like, should I wait for flexibility or should I force the flexibility to come? Both are not correct. If you wait, it will never come. And if you force, you might injure the muscle or something. So it has to be consistent efforts, even though you may not see the results today or tomorrow, or even for 1 year, you may not see any result. Still, every day you have to just get there and do the thing and just consistently put gentle efforts. And then after some time, the results will start showing slowly.
That's a good answer. Does that answer your question, Lata? There is no question of waiting. You remember that. See, one very important point emerging out of your question is what most people think, that the mind cannot be controlled, which is basically Arjuna's question in chapter 3, in chapter 6. He says that, how do you ask me to control the mind? It is like, it's a very difficult thing to do. And Shastram tells you that, no, that is not correct. See, what we think of as thoughts which are bothering us, which I cannot control, they are what we call involuntary thoughts. Thoughts which you have not invited. Okay. You have not made a deliberate attempt to invite those thoughts, but still they come because of the way that your mind is structured, because of your vasanas, because of your, whatever is your current obsessions, all those things come. So remember that, one way of looking at it is, normally your mind is always occupied with something, right? I am doing this, I am doing that, I'm going to class, I'm doing my thesis. And therefore there is a focus on the mind. But what are the thoughts which will arise in your mind when it is not occupied? Have you ever tried that? Which is the process of meditation. What are the thoughts which will arise uninvited in your mind when you are not occupying it with more mundane activities? Those thoughts indicate your priorities in life, your obsessions in life. And if you want to replace the thoughts with, non-disturbing thoughts, what should you do? You have to replace those priorities. Replacing those priorities requires, a lot of thought. What is my priority in life has to be first understood. And therefore, there are, in fact, in Shankara says elsewhere, we always say that you can control your, thoughts by controlling the mind. But Shankara elsewhere says that you use jnanam, you use knowledge to control the mind. And when the mind is controlled, you will find the thoughts are controlled. So what you do is, to answer a practical question, is you spend a few minutes every day. You start with, let us say, 5 minutes or 7 minutes. In those 7 minutes, you have to think of only one thought. Okay, one thought means thoughts connected with one subject. Okay, I'm not saying that only one thought should be there, but whatever thought is going to be there, it should be connected with one subject. And since we are on Vedanta and in scriptures, we will always say that you think of thoughts which are connected with Easwaran. That is why you have all these dhyana slokas in all your, what they call prayers, all your texts, Vishnu Sahasranama, all these things, you have got dhyana slokas. What do dhyana slokas tell you? Dhyana slokas give you a description of the particular deity. You memorize one of those dhyana slokas and make sure that when you meditate, your thoughts are only on those dhyana slokas. You will find that in the first few months, you will concentrate for 1 minute and your mind will wander for the next 10 minutes. And worse still is the fact that you will not know that your mind has wandered. That is the problem. Mind wandering is not a problem. Problem is that I don't realize that my mind has wandered. When you realize that your mind has wandered, you will have found that for 10 minutes it has wandered. Then you will bring it back. That is a process. In the process, you will find that over a period of time, your mind wandering will not reduce initially. What will reduce is the gap between the time that you realize it has wandered. As that gap decreases, your control is growing. Very practical thing from my own experience.
Sir?
Yeah, while practicing, it does happen sometimes, but again, I think it needs more and more practice, I guess. Yeah.
This
You're
practice
right.
cannot be, during your spare time.
True.
You cannot practice for 10 minutes a day and spend, 18 hours letting the mind wander. It is not going to have any effect.
But can I share my experience here?
Yes, Swati, go ahead.
So in my case, like as I have heard these things before also, that you have said that these are our vasanas, our thoughts, which come and we don't have control on those thoughts when they are appearing. But we have control to take the action on that. So there's a gap when we decide. So in between that, we can take in charge. But yes, that comes with a practice. And then we can apply the process of like FIR, which is like the basic thing. We can reduce the frequency, intensity, and recovery. So in my case, I have reduced all of that. Recovery is much faster than as it was in days, and even, took months. Now it is like in hours or even minutes. And when like some wrong thought, like let's say anger or some ill thought come for somebody else in my mind, then what is like, it comes. I cannot control that. I feel guilty also for a few seconds. But then I realize, okay, this is my vasana and fine, let it be. But I'm not doing something bad out of it. I can stop it here. So that's how I am seeing my progress. I don't know if it is in the right direction.
That is good enough. I mean, if you have FIR, the timing is reducing, then what more do you want? That's sign of very solid progress.
Yes, that is.
So only thing I can tell you, Lata, is that you need to be more aware. And I would suggest that you pick up one mantra from somewhere which you like, maybe a family mantra or your priest mantra, whatever mantra. Make it a short mantra, and whenever you find mind is wandering and you are aware that mind is wandering, you repeat the mantra. Mantra is not just, mumbo jumbo. It's basically a thought which you are holding on to. It's something like those, when you go to bathe in the Ganges, what do you see at the side of the Rishikesh? You have a huge, what they call chain, which is attached to the ground. And you are encouraged to hold on to the chain, because if you don't hold on to the chain, the Ganga will take you away very, very fast. Therefore, when you're dipping into the Ganga, hold the chain. So this mantra is your chain. Hold on to the mantra, your mind will wander all over the place. But as long as the mantra is there, you are in some sort of control.
Yeah.
Sir, can I say something?
Can I?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I am meditating for the last 10 years and I concentrate on my breath. So sometimes, it goes so well, I feel so good. And sometimes I am unable to, feel good. But it is, a long practice if you want to meditate well, what I feel. There are many techniques of meditation. So control of breath and concentrating on the breath, I think I feel good.
See, remember one thing, but all these methods are essentially only for controlling the flow of the mind, right? Which is what we call Chitta Shuddhi. But beyond that, if you are still stuck with that, then you are going nowhere. So if you have been meditating for 10 years, then you should be able to appreciate the knowledge immediately because your mind is under control. So that's what I'm getting at. All these subsidiary techniques, meditation, Tantra Yoga, Kundalini Yoga, everything is fine. We accept all of them because they're all based on Shastra, but they are not the end. If you have not been able to convert that into a mind which is eligible for knowledge, qualified for receiving knowledge, then the journey is still incomplete.
Of course.
So that's what I would like to tell all of you all. I know many of you all do a lot of techniques, right? Some people do Kundalini meditation, some people do chakra meditation. Is no problem doing any meditation. But they are all like the various doors of the temple. You can have very many doors by which you can enter the temple. But there is only one door to the sanctum. Always. If you look at any Indian temple, that is a speciality. Entry into the temple can be multiple doors. Entry into the sanctum, only one.
Sir?
Yeah.
We talked about Indriya control, the Dhamma, and then we talk about Manonigraha, Shama. So Titiksha comes as part of these two only?
No. Titiksha is one of the 6.
So Atma Sanyam cannot be seen as Titiksha. That's
Atma Sanyam is Mano, is mind control. Shama.
Shama and Dhamma both together make.
No. Dhamma is sense control.
Yeah.
Shama is mind control. Dhamma is easier than Shama. If you have Shama, you don't need Dhamma. Dhamma is the starting point. Shama is the superior, discipline. Once you have reached Shama, where is the question of needing Dhamma? Because sense organs don't function without the consent of the mind.
Yes.
If your mind is under control, then your sense organs are automatically under control. So Dhamma is like you go and see some, nice smelling samosa being fried in terrible oil. It looks so tasty, your mouth is watering. But your intellect tells you that, you should walk away because you are not capable of controlling yourself. So you actually physically walk away from that place. That is Dhamma. Shama, you're watching, then your mind tells you that, it's terrible. A lot of fats fried over there, don't eat. So you can stand there and watch it sizzling, but you don't eat. That is Shama, which is superior.
Yeah. You are there in the vicinity of the senses object, yes. But you are not reacting.
You're not a slave to your tongue. That is Shama. And Shama is always more important than Dhamma. But Dhamma is a starting point. That is why we start with Dhamma and end up with Shama. So you have to take the logical order. Okay, some texts will tell you that Shama comes first and then Dhamma. Which text tells you that?
In Tattvabodha, we read it like that.
Yeah. So there is something called a textual order, and there is something called a logical order. So in Sanskrit, it's called Padakrama and Arthakrama. Textual order, the order of the text, and the logical order. In any text, one of the rules of interpretation is that where the textual order and the logical order are contradicting, the logical order takes precedence. Therefore, in Tattvabodha, the Padakrama contradicts the Arthakrama because it is Shama comes second, Dhamma is first. And that order is contradicted. And therefore, in the interpretation, you will take Shama as more important than Dhamma. Small rules. You'll find it in Mimamsam Shastram. There's something called Mimamsa Shastra, the Shastra of analysis. These are actually common sense, but our people have always got into a text. So all analysis which is done by this in this manner, you have to remember these rules. That wherever there is a contradiction, you have to always resolve that contradiction by logic. In fact, there are many rules. Wherever, for example, Shruti and Smriti contradict, what will you take?
Shruti.
Shruti. Wherever Shruti and Shruti contradict, what will you take?
Vedas. Logic.
Yes, Shruti, where logic is being accompanied, will be taken as superior to Shruti, where logic is not there. Simple rules. I mean, we'll come across that in many of our examples. So let's drop it there for the time being. Thank you for your patience. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, sir.